Okay, in today's class, I'm going to explain a project which is related with a game project in Python. So, by using of a Pygame library, otherwise module. So, in this today's class, as on today, 10 May 2025, 8 p.m. in June. So, as I have promised that every week, 3 days classes will be conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. Under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. Okay, 3 days of a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sharply at 8 p.m. Classes will be conducted and over different languages, maybe Python, Java, C, C++, SQL, DS and algorithms, whatever, and so many. Okay, these classes will be conducted until my last breath of life. So on today, Saturday, yesterday class was not conducted on Friday. So today we will create a game, which is a snake game. Okay, new project. So within this new project, create like this. So this window, new window. Okay. So this is PyCharm. PyCharm is a IDE. So PyCharm is a IDE. IDE means integrated development environment. To write the code, edit the code, and compile the code and execute the code. Understood that. So if you want to create a new window, otherwise you want to create within the window, so you can do both. Okay. If you want to create new window will be created. Otherwise, if you want to create a window, coding window within this window, you can do the same. So first of all, let me close this window which is being created. Then after I will create the window within this window. Okay. So now code is what you know. This is our this is Pygame. Sorry, PyDrive. Sorry, this is called PyCharm. PyCharm is a code editor. Okay. So a window is created, new window is created. Otherwise, if you want to create a window just within this window, so you can create. PyCharm is an IDE. So PyCharm will be used to create the projects, Python projects. Okay. So first of all, you remove the total, whatever the code here. Then after you clear the window and then we will write the code. Okay. So as I told you that today we will try to understand, we will create a game. Game means snake game in Python as a project. So for that, we will install what? Pygame. Pygame is a library. So Pygame is a library which will be used in Python to create games. Okay, GUI based games. Which type of games? GUI based games. So it is totally created, totally deleted. Now the window is ready to write the code here. So what I told you that. So now the window is ready. Now here I want to write the code for Pygame. That is what your game project. You copy from here. This is like this is classes will be conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation, 3 times of a week. Okay, 3 days of a week. You copy and you paste here so that you copy this Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. Otherwise, you type. There is no any problem. So as I told you that this ID is what? Otherwise, you type here, there's no any problem here. Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. Under this, classes will be conducted 3 days of Friday, Saturday, Sunday at sharply 8 p.m. So now write the code snake game in Python. Okay, using Pygame library. Pygame library. Pygame library is what? It is a module in Python which will be mostly used to create the games. Okay, in the previous class, I have used a Tkinter library to create the apps, Windows apps. Okay, today in the last class, I promised that we will create a game that is a GUI based game in Python by using a Pygame library. Okay, so library now, what is this snake game? So it is very fun and classic project. So by using a Pygame library, so this library supports better support for real-time game mechanism. Okay, mechanics, whatever. So first of all, we need to install the Pygame. So for going to terminal, go into we need to go for terminal. Okay, and there go to terminal, and then here the terminal is very important. There we need to install what is that? We need to install pip install pygame. Okay, we need to go into tool windows. That is, this is called terminal. Okay, view under the view under the tool windows, go for Python terminal. Okay, here we need to write the code for pip install. Okay, here you write the code like this: pip install pygame. If in the previous classes I told you that pip install pygame. Pygame is a library which will be used mostly to support the game environment. So pip is a install manager to install the libraries, otherwise modules. I told you that if you want to work with web applications, okay, website development, that is what your uh, Django, Flask. Okay, the Django, Flask libraries will be used for Windows applications. That is what Tkinter mostly used for GUI Windows-based application, for gaming application, Pygame. So many libraries are there in Python. Okay, so this is the way to install your Pygame through pip install manager. Pip install Pygame. This is a command, then Pygame module, otherwise library will be installed. Then after we will be able to write the code. Let me check that what happened here. If I have written this code, pip install Pygame, what happened? So there is no any, it is taking somewhat time to store to load the Pygame. Okay. Nothing is going on. What happened here? Okay, it is downloading. Okay, Pygame installing. This is like installing collected packages Pygame. So downloading Pygame 2.6.1 like this 10.6 megabytes. Okay, so it is installed, I think, successfully installed. So now your pip new release of pip available. Okay, upgrade pip. No need pip, no means pip install manager. It is stating that pip install manager new available version is there. That is 25.1.1. So upgrade pip. If you want to upgrade, there's no need. You pip install. upgrade pip. You can write like this. No, there is no any problem. So that will be seen later. No any problem. So pip install manager. If you want to upgrade pip install manager, you can upgrade pip. Okay, there's no any problem. So next code for to write this code for the snake game in Python using Pygame. First code we need to import. Okay. So first of all, import what? Import, first import Pygame. Why Pygame? I told you that for if you want to create a game application, Pygame. What is the meaning of this Pygame? So as I told you that Pygame is a library which will be mostly used for GUI based game applications. Next, import time. Import time. Next, I will explain what import random. Random. Okay. So what is the meaning of these? I want to explain every line of code. Import Pygame means Pygame is a library, otherwise module, which is having a lot of classes and methods and objects, attributes. So Pygame is a library, otherwise module. Every module has in Python, it may have so many classes and class methods. Methods can be accessed by creating of objects and classes. Okay. Then after import time, what do you mean of this import time? Time it is also one type of module, otherwise library mostly used for what purpose? Uh, for there is if there is no to handle the delay of time. Okay. So what do you mean of delay time? Okay. If any delays needed in the game, okay, it is not directly used in the game means, but useful for delays if needed. Okay, whenever if you need any delay, so that time delay if you need, so this time library will be used. Okay, random. So random is what used to place the food at random positions. Okay, these this much of code, this is very important. And then after what we need to initialize the game, Pygame. Pygame is what a module, our library. Initialize, so to initialize the game, Pygame dot. Okay. So see here, whenever you keep the dot operator, you will get so many options here. Initialization, init. Okay. This is init. Okay, this function we need to use here. This function is part of your Pygame module, otherwise library. I told you that whenever you will see this type of brackets, that is what it is. F means function, otherwise is a method. Okay, so what happened now? This function is part of this Pygame library. It will be used to initialize what? Initialize the game. Initialize the what? To initialize the Pygame modules. Okay. Pygame modules. Okay. So this Pygame module has somewhat classes window and sound to initialize the window. Okay, comma sound. Okay. Sound, etc. So this simple code here, Pygame dot initialize to initialize the Pygame modules. Okay. Next, we need to create somewhat we need to set up the pixels, screen size, to set up the screen size. Okay. So you mentioned here screen, set up the screen. Okay. Set up screen size. Okay. So how to set up the screen size? So that is what width comma HEIGH height comma to width and height. So how many pixels we want to set up the size of the screen? 600 pixels comma 500. It is up to you, whatever the pixels you want to, 600, 400 pixels. Okay, width comma height, 600, 400 pixels. Next, screen size, that is up to you, how much of screen size if you want to provide. Okay, next is what? That is the size, width, height. Next, screen. Okay, now we will write the code like this, screen. So, see, first of all, we write the code and we will store that code in a variable. Okay. So now Pygame, this is Pygame. This is a module dot. Whenever you keep the dot, display. So we will see how to get display. Okay. Display. This is the, I told you that initialization function we have used to initialize what window and sound modules of Pygame. And this display, Pygame.display, we will use here. So within this, one more set mode. Okay. Set underscore mode. Let us see here. Simply you type set. So see here, simply you, whenever you type here is set underscore mode, it is a function here. Okay. This function is part of Pygame.display. So here you simply type s and you will get the set mode. Let us wait for, it is taking some time. Why? Because it is taking time because of your processor maybe delay due to there is no any space in the RAM, random access memory. Okay. Okay, display dot. Now it is getting delay. Whenever I have typed dot operator, I need to get all that function. Set mode within this, you tap, you click this, it is a function. Under this function, we need to set up these width, height. Okay, width, height are uh, two variables. Okay, two variables created, width comma height. Two variables created, assign the values to width 600 pixels, height 400 pixels. These width, height variables will be assigned as parameters for this function. Okay. What function? Set underscore mode. You width, comma, height. Okay. Next. Now, what we need to do here, little bit of now, see, generally what happens, set underscore mode is a function. Under this, whenever we keep this width, comma, height as that's what attributes, otherwise variables, we need to keep them in brackets. Why? Because set underscore mode is a function. Within this width, comma, height variables I have assigned for this function. Set underscore mode, that is part of your display, and that display is part of Pygame library. Now let us actually, screen is what you know. Screen is the canvas. Canvas means the area where the snake moves in that area. Okay, that is screen. Okay, screen is what? Within that screen, the total game means the total that snake, it will move in that area. Okay, that area is what? 600 comma 400 pixels. 600 is width and height is 400 pixels. Now we need to do what? Little bit of what? Next, one more parameter, one more code. We will write like this: Pygame. Okay, dot, which function we will call now? Again, display. Okay, again, dot operator. Which function we need to call? Set caption. Set, you simply keep yes this set caption. Okay, set caption. What this is, this function will be used to set up the caption name of the game. Okay, so now here we want to keep a game name snake game, to keep a name for this game. Okay, snake game. Okay, now this much of code, 3 lines of code, which is used to set up screen size. Okay, understood that. So as I told you that we need to import Pygame. Pygame is a library mostly used for to create the games in Python. Time is what? Time and random. These imported. Okay. They are the what it is. Whenever you keep the mouse here, let us check that whether it is a module or class. Then use the import statement, import random. Okay, we will check back that later. Huh? Whether they are the part of any Pygame, otherwise they are separate. Time, random. Okay, let us check the next. This is this code written here to initialize the Pygame. Okay, modules. The modules of Pygame is Windows sound like what? These are Windows sound are the modules of Pygame library. Okay. Now Windows size I have set up. So this code, it sets up the this code set up a screen with the pixels. So screen is what? It is our canvas. So this code sets up the name of the game title, window title. Okay. So now I need to set up colors now here. To set up colors here. Okay. Which type of colors here? So if I want to use white color is what? It is a variable I have created. So generally, little bit of mistake. That is what you know. Whenever, see what happened. So this title code, uh, I think it is better to keep in a variable, create a variable screen. Okay. Now what happened? The total code, now this code from here to here. Okay. This code stored in this screen. It is a variable. Understood? Now, okay. Now, see colors. Colors for white color, how much of pixels you want to give. How much of pixel? It is up to you how much of colors, 255, 255, okay, 255. So this pixel color decided written as 255, 255, 255. So means white color is what? Somewhat height, width, length. Height, width, and length. Okay. So next black color. What is the black color here? Black color pixels. What is the black color pixels? So let us mention as no any pixel here. Okay. No. So means height, width, height. width, length. Okay. So no any pixels, green color. So what do you mean of green color? Green color pixels as what? Height is somewhat 0, comma 25, comma. Take like this. Okay. So next is what? Red color. Take the red color is equal to somewhat like 255, comma 0, comma 0. 255, comma 0, comma 0. So these are somewhat colors which will be used. These colors are defined using RGB tuples. RGB tuples means what? RGB red, green, blue tuples. Tuples already we have studied in the previous class. Tuple sets, dictionaries, and sets. Okay, already we have studied. Okay. Next, these tuples are used to draw the snake, food, background, etc. Okay. These colors will be used to draw the snake, food, background, etc. So whenever code will be executed, that moment we will check all the code one by one. Okay. Next colors. Okay. Now game settings. How to set the game set. Okay. Now write game settings. Okay. Game underscore settings. How to comment. Under this game settings, black underscore size. Black underscore size. That is equal to what? So black underscore size, the size of each square block of the snake. Okay. So here the game is what? Snake game. So the black underscore size is equal to 20. What do you mean of this line of code? Black underscore size is 20 means the size of each square. Okay. Square block of the snake. Now snake speed. We need to provide the snake speed. Okay. Snake underscore speed. That is equal. These two are two variables. Okay. This black underscore size and snake underscore speed are two variables. So here this variable assigned with the value 15, how fast the snake moves, frames per second, frames per frames per second. Okay. Frames per second. Per second. Okay. That is very important. Where is that forward slash? Okay. This is here. Frames per second. Okay. Now. Okay. Now. So game settings. These two are for block size. Block size of means the square block of the snake. Okay. Each square block of the snake. Snake speed. How much of time? With how much of time the snake moves? Frames per second. Now we need to set up a font size. So, okay, what type of font? Here, to set up the font, you can write font size. Otherwise, simply you write here font. The font is equal to what? Pygame dot font. Pygame, you take this Pygame and dot. Okay, font. Already font here. So Pygame dot font. Okay. So now Pygame dot font. So if you install Pygame Pydroid app in mobiles, Android mobiles, if you want to use the Pydroid 3 version in your Android mobiles, and in this type of support you will not get. Whenever you keep a dot operator, you will get all this helpline. Okay, functions, you can take functions, somewhat variables, and so font pygame dot font. So this is the code to set the font size. Okay. So this setup, now this is what, now that moment, what happened here? Dot. So sys font. So under this, we need to provide the parameters like what? Name, size, like what you. So under this sys font, so we need to provide name and size. Name is suppose none. If you don't want to keep, so you can take this parameter none, comma, size, it is up to you how much of time, how much of size. So name, for the name parameter, you have provided the value none, and for the size 35. So these two values I have provided for the this is font function, and that is part of your Pygame. Okay. So what happened by this setup? A default font of size 35. Default font of size 35 for displaying text. So if any text, it is to be displayed on the screen, like any messages or any score. So if you want to display any message or score, to display that score or message, the font size 35, that is the default font of size, default size. Okay. Now we need to set up the one more code here, clack. Clack is what, so this is what font is a variable. Okay. This total code written from here to here stored in this font. Now one more code that will be stored in this variable clack. Okay. So we need to take clack from Pygame. Pygame is a library. From here, we need to take time.clack. Okay. Time is what? Time. Time is what? Pygame time. Okay. Time.clack. So this is what C means, a class. Okay. Class. Okay. This F means function. So now this class is a class. So now this code stored from here to here, stored in this clack. Clack is a variable here. What do you mean of this code? To create, to controls the frame rate of the game. Okay, to control the frame rate. You mention here controls the frame rate of game. Okay. Game. So this line of code from here to here it will controls the frame rate of game. Now that is stored in a variable class. So from here to here, it is a font size setup for to display any message or scope, which is stored in this variable's font. These block underscore size, snake underscore, these two variables assigned. These are called game settings. Okay. Now let us come to the next code. So what happened? Clack variables, it is stores this code pygame.time.clack. So under this code, it controls the frame rate of game used with the tick. Tick is what? So used with tick. Huh? We will see used with the tick function. Okay. Now come to the next code. What happened? So message function. Message function. What is the message function? So we will create a function here that is called a function. You can keep any name for that function. Okay, with the def keyword to, so this message, what it does, it gives a message like game over on, okay, it gives a message like game over and draws the text at a specific position. Okay, if you want to draw text at a specific position. Otherwise, if you want to provide a message like game over on the screen. So for this, we need to create a function. Okay. So different functions we need here. One is the message function to provide the message on the screen, like game is over, and at the specific positions, if I want to draw the text and then draw the snake for the if you want to if you want to draw the snake. So for that, I need to create a function. So next, so come to the first message function. So let us see what happened here. Message function to def is a function. Def is the keyword used to create a function like a message. It is a name to keep. I want to keep for any function. A name must be there for any function. Within this, somewhat like attributes, there is parameters I want to uh, provide. Okay, so then after I need to define these two attributes, parameters, and parameters variables. You can simply don't confuse yourself. Message color to attributes. Otherwise, I need to then after I need to assign them. So under this function, one line of code, that is what font dot render. Font dot, what do you mean render? See, whenever you type R, render, it is what a M means what, module. Okay, sorry, method. Okay, not module, method. So a render method, it has some these are some parameters. Okay, whenever you click on this render, so under this what MSG, MSG why? Because we will write and then after I will explain. Now three parameter message, true, color. Okay, true is what boolean value here. True is a boolean value, and then after color. Color COLO are simply small letters. This is what color. Okay. So now what happened? This code, this much of code, I want to keep this much of code in a variable. That is what a text variable. Text, create a variable and assign this total code for this variable. Now what happened? Now where is that screen? We have taken this is what? Okay. This total code assigned for screen. So screen dot now. Under this screen dot, okay, blit. See this module. Fmans functions, this module. So this blit module requires some parameters. Okay. Under this text will be passed as a parameter. Okay. Text, comma. Okay. Next, what happened? Width oblique height. So width oblique height, we need to keep them in square brackets. Okay. Under this width oblique right now like this, width oblique 6. There's no any problem. And then height oblique 3. What do you mean of this? I will explain. Okay. Now see what happened. This code, which code? This code, it provides a message like game over on the screen. Okay, from here to here. This code provides a message on the screen like a game over. Okay. Now this code from here to here, it displays it. We can draw a text on the screen at a specific position. Okay. Now it one function we have created. Okay. That function can be called with the name message we have whenever we need. Okay. Now one more function, that is what This is, we can call this as a message function. Okay. Comment here, message function. Okay. Now one more function that is called, we can comment this function as snake function. Okay. Now come down here, snake function. So that snake function means we can call this as draw the snake. Okay. Snake function, otherwise snake function to draw the snake. Okay. Draw the snake. So whenever we call that function, I told you that in Python by def keyword, that is compulsory. Then after we need to keep a name for any function. Here I want to draw the snake. So draw snake. Function name is what? Suitable name for that function, because I want to draw the snake. So draw underscore snake function. So within this, I told you that whenever function is there, it is to be terminated with semicolons. Now within this, if you want to keep any parameters, means parameters you say, otherwise variables. Okay. So now these two variables, block size and snake speed, these two will be passed as a parameters, these two variables. Okay. Now block underscore size. Okay, comma. One more variable we have created there. That is what? Where is that? Black underscore size and snake underscore speed. Snake underscore speed. Okay. Now, so what do you mean of this? These two, these black underscore size, snake underscore speed, these two are called what you were, they are parameters. Actually, they are the variables, but they have passed here as parameters. Okay. For this function, draw underscore snake. Now, under this function, so I will run a loop of for loop. Okay. For generally we will write I is indexing variable in where snake underscore list. Okay. So snake underscore list. So snake underscore list is what? Why it is getting error? Means we need to define. It is not defined. Unresolved reference. So it is unresolved. We need to resolve this one. So under this code, okay, for loop, Pygame, we will call the Pygame library. Under this Pygame library, I want to use draw. Draw. So okay, within this, one more, that is what function. I want to use rect function here. So this rect function needs to parameter screen, comma, green. Okay, screen is what? Screen where I have this watch. Where is that screen? Okay, screen dot. This is screen. So Pygame, this screen. Okay, this total code here from here to here, it is stored in this variable screen. So that screen will be passed as a parameter. That is a variable that is passed as a parameter for this function, rect function. Comma, green is a variable. Okay. Now within this, okay, comma. Okay, let us see what happened here. Square, under the square brackets, green under the square brackets. Okay. This I will explain what happened here. Now what happened here, you come like this, you write the code x0, okay, and one more time you write like this, x1, okay. Next, black underscore size. That is what one variable we have created there. Okay. Now black underscore size. Again, black underscore size. So okay, now let us see. So it is what it is not resolved. Oh, it will we will resolve that. Don't worry about that. Whenever if any error is there in the code, that will underline the code. No any underline here. Everything code we have written well here. Okay, but here we are getting little bit of underline here only. So that is we need to resolve. That is unresolved reference. Don't worry about that. So now what happened here? X it is mentioning underline. So it will be resolved. Okay. Here what happened? You for loop. We have used the for loop here. So for loop it loops through for loop what it will do. It loops through all parts of the snake and draws green rectangles. Okay. So to create the green rectangles, why? Because we have given the color size, color is green. So it creates the green rectangles uh, through all part of the snake. Okay. And it loops. Okay. For loop, it provides the loop through all parts of the snake. Okay. And draws green rectangles. Okay. Now main game loop. So this is one function. So for main game, okay, main game loop, that is the main game loop. Okay. Now for this what happened? Main game loop. Again, we need to create one more function, keep any name of game loop. Why? Because that is the main game loop. So it is one more function. Every time function must be terminated with the colon. And this, what happened? This game loop, I have kept a name for this as per your, it is one type of what a function name. Don't worry, this is the main function where the entire game runs. This is the main function, okay, where the entire game runs, okay. So this is main game loop, okay. So this code we have written. Then after what? Now game states. If game is over and game close. So we need to game over stops the program, okay? And game close shows the game over screen, but also allows restart. So these game states what, what is the state of the game? Okay, comment here and game states. State means which type of, now the game is under which state. Game underscore over is a variable. Game underscore over a variable you have created here. Now, if you mention like this a boolean value, you have assigned false, which is a boolean value to stop the game. Okay, game underscore over is a variable is assigned with a false. It stops the game. To stop the game, mention here to stop the game. To stop the game. Okay. Now, game underscore loop is this is the main loop we have used. This is the main function. Two, this is the main function for what purpose? Main function. This is the main function where entire game runs. Main function where entire game runs. So this is the main function where the entire game runs. Okay. Now game states. Game states are what? Game underscore over false to stop the game. Okay. Now next game underscore close. One more variable you create here. One more variable. So you, as if you assign with false, what is the false? It is a Boolean value. It is a Boolean value. So what do you mean of this? It shows the game over the screen, but allows restart. Okay. It shows the game over. It shows a message game over on the screen, but allows restart. You mention here, it shows what it shows. It shows game over message. Game over message on the screen. Game over message. A message is simple. Message on screen. Okay. And but allows restart. But auto allows restart. Okay. Okay, now come down. So these two variables we have created here. These are the two states about the game. So now initial snake position, that is very important. And for the snake list, this is not unresolved. We need to resolve the snake list. Okay. Next, food position. We need to define the food position. So lot of code we need to write. Okay. How to write this much of code? You need to understand every line of code line by line so that the game will be what? Run. The game will be run under what your that is your Pygame library by installing a Pygame library. Okay, by creating a message function to provide a message on the screen. Okay, and then after one function, we have created draw from snake. How to this function will be used to draw the snake. Okay. Next, main game loop. Okay, main function. This is the main function, game loop function, and where entire game runs. Two states we have defined game underscore o to stop the game, and one more variable game underscore close shows game over message on the screen but allows restart. Now come to the next point. Okay. Let me check. Okay. Okay. Now these two two states we need to keep under these two states we need to keep under the main function game loop. Okay. So then after we need to define that values this x1. Okay. So we need to define the x1 is equal to what is equal to width by 2. Okay. Width by 2. And then x2 y1. Y1 is equal to height oblique 2. Height oblique 2. So now x1, this what? X1 is a variable, as I told you that this game underscore over, game underscore close, x1, y1, these are variables. And before that also we have created many variables here. See, this is text is a variable. Okay, for the total code, this code we have written to provide a message on the screen. Okay, So the total code stored in this variable text here is what clack is a variable. We have a font to provide the font size of the text. So got snake underscore speed. It is a variable to move the snake with frame rate of 15 frames per second. So like that, so many variables, white, block, these are variables. Okay, don't worry, variable. So now let us come to the next code. X1 underscore change is equal to 0. So now X1 underscore change is equal to 0. So next Y1 underscore change is equal to 0. Let us see whether we need to provide 0, same, okay, 0. So then after what happened, two variables we have created. I will explain all that one by one, what happened here. Okay. So what happened really, so under this game loop main function, under the game loop, it is a very lengthy function. Within this lot of code we need to write, and every code, every line of code we need to understand. That is very important. Okay. So somewhat parameters means variables we have created and assigned the values like this. Now next come to the next code, snake underscore list. Okay. Why? Because list here we have created snake underscore list, where this is the snake underscore list we have created here. So now snake underscore list is equal to, okay, empty list. Okay, empty. This is an empty list. Now, okay, it is to be clear. Okay, if I write the code. So now it is the snake underscore list is a variable created assigned with the empty list. So one more snake underscore length. Snake. So snake underscore list is a variable, and snake underscore speed is here, and snake underscore length. Snake length, okay, is equal to 1. Come down here. Now we need to write some more code. Time, how much of time left today? That is almost going 9 o'clock. So I have started the class at what time? 8 o'clock. Today I have started. As I told you that today I want to create a game that is GUI based Python project. Okay, I want to create a snake game in Python. So let us see how much of time it will take, and every line of code we need to understand. So as I have briefed from the starting, okay. And next command under this function food x. Okay. The food x is what is variable we have created. That is what round is what round. This is a function we are using here. Round. Okay. Under this, we need to provide some parameters random. Okay. Dot. For this random dot. So this random, where is that rand range? This is rand range. Okay. So rand range is a function. So it need of some values here. Okay, that values we need to provide. Are you getting the class? Whatever the code I'm writing here, are you able to understand? So at one time you will not be able to understand the code by step actually how to create, what is our motive snake game. So for that snake game in Python using Pygame library. Why Pygame library mostly in Python to create the games. Okay. So first of all, I told you that through pip installer, we need to install Pygame. So go to your terminal and pip install command install Pygame. Then after import time random. Okay, to initialize the Pygame modules. Okay, Windows sound. These are two modules of this initialize Pygame to initialize them modules Windows sound. How to set up the screen size with the height. Screen is the canvas in which the snake moves. Okay, for its food. Okay, so the screen size I have set up the screen size with height two variables created, size pixels I have assigned screen, and then this much of code written, that is what a Pygame library within that display, and under the set underscore mode function with height, that is what display. Okay, for this display, these width and height variables assigned, these two variables assigned for this display. Okay, function set underscore mode. Okay, now the snake game, it is a name kept for that game under this set underscore caption function, which is part of your Pygame uh, library. Okay, colors, white, black, these are pixels. Okay, game settings under the block size underscore size, snake speed, two variables created. Okay, I will explain these two variables. Okay, and font is equal to what? To set up the font size of the text. If any text it is to be displayed on the screen. So clack controls the frame rate of game. Okay, game used with the tick function. So we need to understand the tick function. Okay, I will explain later. Somewhat functions we need to create here. One is the message function to display the to provide the message on the screen. Okay, and this function is what? The text. So how much of text size? Okay, and a snake function to draw the snake. So somewhat functions. So next, this is the main game. The total entire game runs under this main function, game loop function. Under this what variables I have created, these two variables created game underscore war to stop the game. So like that, we need to understand later one by one. Okay. Otherwise, if I'm not able to cover this total class in this one class, and Friday class was not conducted, and today Saturday I'm conducting this class. If I'm not able to cover this class, because generally you will get bored, a lengthy class. Okay, so we will go for Sunday to write the total code and understand. Okay, this much of game lengthy code is here.